got everybody right now. What about the text? We tried to make it.
How long have you been dating?
Jeffrey.
Are you on? You can sit here. He's taking on his role.
Excuse me, everybody.
Yeah.
Boy, that was fast. Never commanded that much attention at once. And it'll never happen again. Thanks. Good evening. And thank you very much for coming to Jeffrey's graduation party. I'm sure Jeffrey would like to thank you all as well, and I'm sure he'll do that before the end of the night is over. I wanted to say a few words before we had a toast, and then after the toast we're going to start an Indian food bonanza, which we'll talk to you a little bit about and tell you what you're actually going to eat before you eat it for those folks who've never had Indian food. But we're here today to honor Jeffrey Derrick, who graduated on this past Sunday. I'm very proud of him. I know what it's like to grow up in a one-parent household, but I don't know what it's like to grow up in a two-parent household when the two parents don't live with each other. And while it was fairly difficult for anyone to live in a one-parent household, I gotta believe it was even more or equally difficult for Jeffrey to grow up in a two-parent household, because you have two parents that are competing for his attention, you have two parents that have separate rules and do things differently, and there's always the communication differences between what one parent said and what another parent said. And I think one thing I wanted to let everyone know is I really admire how Jeffrey grew up, and I really admire Jeffrey for that, because Jeffrey has learned to be adaptable, Jeffrey's learned to be flexible, and it really is all on him. I mean, he has lived in more houses in his 18 years of his life than I have in a few more than 18 years of my life. And he has learned to make friends. He's learned, I remember one party, it might have been Gene Lemon's party, years ago, where Jeffrey was like 4 or 5 years old. We went to the party, and he didn't know anybody. It was an adult party, but there was a few kids there. And I remember him getting out of the car, walking up to a bunch of kids and said, "Hi, I'm Jeffrey. Want to go play?" So it's an amazing trait to have now. It's obviously going to be an amazing trait for him to have in the future, to be able to adapt and to change and to be that flexible. I think another great thing about Jeffrey is he's had great friends and he has great values, and some of those friends are here today, and we'd like to thank you folks for coming, some of the friends from Holy Cross High School. As I said earlier, it's not easy to be with two parents because the communication of what happens to be one parent and another. I tried to teach Jeffrey when he was growing up that he could do anything that he put his mind to. He went home and told his mother that Daddy said I could do anything I wanted to. So there was times when Jeffrey actually caused me some hot water, but we kind of worked that out. I'm very proud of Jeffrey's accomplishments and his versatility. I think many of you might know this, but when he was in 8th grade, when he was in junior high school, not only was he an honor roll student, but he played basketball, he played cross country, and he played baseball. And he was a captain of several of those sports. As a matter of fact, he set records that are still set at Long Hill, especially when it came to cross country. He won the most races of anyone at Long Hill. And say what?
River.
Long River, thank you. Long River. And he's always a very particular kid. He wants to make sure everything is right. Except when it comes to his French final, we won't get into that right now. Then he went on to high school and he wanted to do some different things. And so not only was he playing basketball, but he chose to participate in soccer, indoor track, and outdoor track. And he also has done the decathlon. Matter of fact, last year Jeffrey came in 14th place in the decathlon in the entire state. So Jeffrey's been in high school for 4 years. He has won 11 varsity letters in those 4 years in those 4 different sports. He just beat me out. I had 3 letters. At the end of sophomore year, he was kind of starting to fly by me. He just kept going. But this year, for the first time, he did indoor track. And one of the things that we're very proud of him is he was all league. He's in the Naugatuck Valley League. There's a league meet at the end of the year. Not only was he all league, not only did he win the league meet, but he actually set the Naugatuck Valley record for the 55-meter high hurdles. So he's had a tremendous high school career. He just is almost finishing his outdoor track season. And he's been working really hard all year doing the 110 high hurdles, the 300 intermediate hurdles, and the 400 4x400 races. And about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, he pulled his hamstring. It was about a day before the all-city meets. And unfortunately, he couldn't race in the all-city meets because he wanted to try to rest up to get into the Naugatuck Valley League meet, which was the week later. So about a week and a half ago, he was, again, getting ready to do the Naugatuck Valley meet. He was stretching out, trying to make everything happen. The day before the Naugatuck Valley League meet, he pulled his hamstring even worse. So it looked like it wasn't even going to be raced. Matter of fact, up to a half an hour before the first race in the NBL, I heard his coach come up to him and said, if you really want to scratch, no one's going to look at you and say, do that. You need to make up your mind. Jeff said, no, I'm gonna race. And so in the 110 high hurdles, you have a preliminary race, and if you win the preliminary, if you qualify for the preliminary race, you get into the finals. And so he went and did the preliminary race, and there was 3 heats, and he was in the second heat, and all you had to do was come in first or second place. And not that he had the greatest time, but he got across and he came in first place, so he was going to make the finals. But I watched him after the race, and I said, how'd you do? How you feeling? How's your leg feeling? And he goes, it's not too good. He went up to actually stretch it out on a hurdle. He couldn't raise his leg to get up on the hurdle. So I'm saying, he's worked his heart, he's worked his tail off all year for this last race, and it's not going to work out. But he stretched out, he went on the ground, he stretched out, and they put the hurdles up for the finals because they did a bunch of other things in between. And just when they're getting ready to do the finals, God said, Jeffrey, I really don't want you to win this race. It started thundering. It started lightning, and they cleared the track. So now he's already feeling tight. So they said, everyone go to your cars. In 15, 20 minutes, we'll bring you back, or we might even call a meet. You got to go to your cars. 15, 20 minutes later, it didn't really rain. The thunder kind of passed through. They came out, and really, he's going to be the second meet, right? The first one's going to be the girls doing their finals. Then Jeffrey's going to do his finals. And he did what he could in terms of stretching out, and had the final race. And it was a pretty close race with two top competitors in the Naugatuck Valley League, and Jeffrey won. So he's now all league for indoor track. He's all league for outdoor track. And last week, he had a state meet, Class AA state meet, and he won that. He won that as well. He's an all-state athlete. All right. So as you know, we've all had a tough year, so I'm a little more emotional than I expected to be. But Jeffrey was accepted to 6 out of 9 of the schools he applied to, and as you all know, he's going to pass up the beautiful weather of Shelton, Connecticut to go to the University of Tampa in Florida. And he's leaving in the middle of August, and we all wish him well. So last thing I want to say, and then I'm going to get you to food. I want to make the toast and get you to eat.
Yeah, because the champagne's for
Appreciate that, Michael. Obviously, Jeffrey's had some great times, and things are looking up really well for him right now. He's honor roll, graduate, great athlete. But there's going to be times in his life when things are not necessarily going to go the way he expects. Someone's going to come up and throw him for a loop one way or another. And I want him to remember 2 things. One thing I want him to remember is that in the last 18 years of his life, he's been extremely successful in absolutely everything he's done. And to remember that, so that when you're going through the tough times, you have that behind you, you can get through them in the future. And the second thing I want him to remember, that through hard work, through dedication, through attitude, through hustle, that he can be anything that he puts his mind to. So, I want to raise our glasses. You don't have to raise your glass. To my son, Jeffrey Derrick, the high school graduate. Good luck in the University of Tampa. Great job. We're very, very proud of you. Good luck. Here, here, here. Don't drink too much. You're not 21. Okay, all the Indian, we're going to open up the Indian food right now. All of the food is labeled. If you haven't had Indian food, the first thing people think is it's going to be really spicy. We're really going to hate it. It's not spicy. We got pretty much all mild dishes except, which one's the less mild one? Chicken tikka masala? Chicken tikka masala? Stephanie?
What, you watching TV?
Honey, which one's the medium one? Stephanie, leading your help. The chicken vindaloo is a little more spicier than the others. So, all of them are labeled. I would suggest you put the rice down first and put some of the chicken on that rice. Go all the way through. For those people who positively can't stand Indian food or do not want to try it, we actually got a tray of lasagna from Vazzi's. But I would strongly suggest that here's a chance to at least try a different set of food. We still have soda, we still have wine. And Indian food was Jeffrey's request because he's had it once before, and well, more than once before, and wanted it for his graduation. So help yourselves and keep eating, keep drinking, and thank you.